Hello and welcome to The Insider. I'm Lisa Adams. Welcome to our viewers and to our listeners on the radio. Today our focus is on new leadership and direction at Mercyhurst University with a brand new president at the helm. My guest is Dr. Kathleen Getz, the 13th president of Mercyhurst University. Welcome.
Thank you. Happy to be here.
Well, let's start with your background. I read your bio, and you certainly have had a lot of business and management leading of departments at schools, sure. Most recently Loyola University in Maryland. So talk about that business foundation of what you've been doing in higher ed recently.
So thank you. I really think that that business foundation really helps me to be a much better leader because I understand the university not just as an academic, which I do, but also as an organization that has to operate in a really complex environment and increasingly complex for higher ed. So I can bring my knowledge of accounting and finance, human resource management, strategy, all of those things to my leadership role.
So you were at Loyola in Maryland before that, at Loyola in Chicago, yes. And again, overseeing business departments, also at American University, some really impressive credentials. So tell us about your experiences there in higher ed.
Oh boy. Well,
that's a broad question.
It's, it's 30 years. So I started as a faculty member at American University, and from there I I advanced through the ranks as a faculty member, eventually became a senior associate dean there, which really was the dean of faculty and academic programs. So I worked on curriculum and I helped faculty to develop, which is a really fun thing to mentor people. From there I moved to Loyola University Chicago as the dean and did all of those roles, but added on top of that strategy and fundraising and the kinds of things that one does as you advance higher in the executive ranks. I had the same opportunities at Loyola University, Maryland, with the addition of, at Maryland, serving on the president's cabinet, which is not something deans very often do, but at Maryland they do. And that really helped me a lot to learn about the entire university, the things that happen in student life, the things that happen in enrollment management, and I think really prepared me well for this current position.
Yeah, that was my next question, but before I quite get there, your undergrad I saw was in human development, lest we think you're all business. So how did you go from human development into the business side?
So I usually tell people my undergraduate major was social work because that's what I wanted to do. I wanted to work with families and really help them with financial management, which is something that coming from a working class family was really important to me to help families do that kind of thing. But when I finished college, it was the early 1980s. It was a nasty recession. I married my husband, and he was working in Erie. So I came to Erie, and the only jobs that I could get in social work in the field that I wanted were volunteer. And that wasn't going to work out well for me, so I ended up going into banking. And since I was in banking, I thought I should learn something about banking and did my MBA at Gannon University in finance. And while I was there, I had an opportunity to do some part-time teaching at Erie Business Center, which you may remember, and I fell in love with teaching. And from there, it was, let's get a PhD and really do this completely. So.
Really an interesting background, and you told me before we were recording that Williamsport, PA was your home originally. So you talked about a little bit how your financial acumen will help you be a leader here at Mercyhurst University, but maybe go a little deeper there why you think you're the right leader for Mercyhurst University at this moment.
Yeah, I say that a lot, that I think that this is the right time for Mercyhurst to have me as the president and for me to be here at Mercyhurst. It's good for both of us. And I do think that some of it has to do with my financial acumen. A lot of it has to do with my values, which are consonant with the values of the Sisters of Mercy, and with where Mercyhurst is at this moment in time, which is a pivot moment, potentially, in terms of moving forward. As I've said on many occasions, higher ed is changing, and if institutions of higher ed don't do the right things, will not last. And so I think that my capacity to come in here at this moment in time, building my leadership on the values of the sisters, but bringing in that business eye, if you will, that lens, is going to be what Mercyhurst needs.
Well, we'll dig a little bit more into that, the sort of the larger philosophical view. But I do know that fundraising experience is something that you have had in other places too. So is that going to be something that's important and valuable here? I mean, do you envision any kind of a capital campaign soon? Because I know there's a big anniversary coming up for Mercyhurst.
There is a big anniversary coming up. We are getting close to our centennial, which our centennial year is 25-26. And so, yes, we're going to have a comprehensive campaign which will include both capital, a lot of scholarship, endowment, and things like that. We're working right now to build out what that will be. And as time goes by, we'll start that campaign quietly and then go public with it.
There's always the quiet phase.
Yes.
All right, well, you mentioned that higher ed has changed certainly during your career, and also the challenges of COVID-19 are putting additional pressures on. Those are the things that we'll talk about when we come back. Stay with us. I'm Lisa Adams. Welcome back to The Insider. My guest again is Dr. Kathleen Getz. She likes to be called Kathy, the new president of Mercyhurst University. Forgive me, but I just can't do it. You were just officially installed a couple of weeks ago. We have a little bit of video of that day. How exciting was that day? I happened to notice you do a little dance when you when you went by some band members that were playing some music.
That was just a wonderful day. It's kind of like your birthday and Christmas and your wedding day all wrapped up into one. It was exciting because my family was there to celebrate, and as you can see on the video, lots of people from Mercyhurst came out to celebrate. I can't help it when I hear music. I'm a terrible dancer, but I just always have to kind of move to the music, so it was a wonderful day.
And you know, you talked about the fact that you didn't know you were going to be a teacher until you had a chance to do some teaching, and then you were interested in that. So were you aspiring to be a college, university president someday?
No. I wasn't even aspiring to be a college dean. In fact, I think when I became a professor early on, I didn't even know what deans did. And so it was a slow process of learning that. I did the obligatory department chair leadership, which is something many people don't want to do. And the person who was the dean at the time said to me, I think you have some potential to do higher things, and he asked me to be the associate dean. Within a couple of days of that, weeks rather, not days, he said, you're going to be a dean someday. And I said, oh, no, I'm not going to do fundraising ever. And he said, I'll show you, you'll like it. And from there, things have developed, and I'm finding myself as a president and just loving it and thinking I'm doing a pretty good job so far.
That's good. Well, you are the first woman president in 50 years at Mercyhurst, certainly not the first woman to lead this institution. So talk about that. I mean, does that have a special place for you?
Yeah, a lot of people have really tuned into that, the fact that I'm the first woman. And I think it's important. Mercyhurst is a university that was founded in support of women's education, and the Sisters of Mercy have special attention to women's needs in education, health, and spirituality. So it makes sense for that to be a focal point. However, I really prefer that not be what people think about. I really want to be the best president for Mercyhurst at this point in time. And I think that my value as a leader goes beyond the fact that I'm a female.
So you talked about being aligned with the mission of Mercyhurst, aligned with the sisters that had the vision to start in the beginning. But so many faith-based institutions have really stepped away, colleges and university, from their original mission. So how important is that foundation at Mercyhurst, and do you think it's alive and well, or does it need to be strengthened?
I think it is flourishing at Mercyhurst. It's one of the things that attracted me to the university in the first place. The people at Mercyhurst live and breathe the values of the Sisters of Mercy, and they talk about it a lot. Yesterday, as an example, the senior class senior gift committee presented to me their ideas for what the senior gift would be all about. And each one of the 3 ideas was based on some of the values of the Sisters of Mercy. I think it really penetrates.
So you mentioned this moment in higher ed, so let's talk about that. Many schools are struggling with costs and admissions. Some have already closed.
Yeah.
And so how is Mercyhurst enrollment right now, and what are your plans to strengthen that, and how is Mercyhurst handling this challenging moment?
Well, our enrollment right now is a little bit less than we had hoped that it would be for this year. Not significantly, though. The more important question is where we're going from here. As you know, as you just said, this is a really tough time for small private universities, really for small universities of any type. All the public universities in Pennsylvania this year, except for 2, saw declines in enrollment. So it's a serious problem across the board. For us, we're looking at the future in terms of what are our strengths, it's of course what we should be doing, and where we need to position ourselves. So we're looking at the changes in demographics, recognizing there are going to be more adult learners than traditional age students, and moving forward with programs to support them, as well as to continue to have a really strong 4-year residential experience for the students of the future who want that.
So Mercyhurst obviously was expanding at one time with a West campus and then the Northeast campus, and then pulling back. So was the pulling back because of the enrollment issue? And I know you've said you supported this sale of the Northeast campus, really a beautiful facility, the seminary there. So talk about that expansion and then the contraction.
Yeah. So the expansion occurred at a time in the early 90s when that was the appropriate thing to do. We're trying to sort of be closer to the communities we were trying to serve. The sale of the the Northeast campus is not an indication that we're getting smaller. It's an indication that higher ed is changing. We're doing more things online, and we simply don't need that additional space. So we've been able to move those programs to our main campus, including putting our nursing program in a portion of the Mother House where the Sisters of Mercy live, and that's going to serve our students better to have them all close to one another. Again, those students who want that residential experience, we're bringing them together and they can partake of more of the things that we offer.
I know you've said publicly or in print that a merger with another school is something you'd be willing to look at, but only if Mercyhurst was the lead institution. So are you thinking about that, and would that be with other Catholic institutions here in Western PA?
So sometimes one regrets having said something in the moment. That might be one of those cases. We're not looking into a merger. What I said, to put it in context, was mergers and acquisitions are happening in higher ed. They're going to continue to happen because there simply are too many institutions for the population. If the time comes where it makes sense for Mercyhurst to do that, we would look into it, we would be serious about it. But of course I'd rather be an acquiring institution than an acquired institution.
All right.
Not on the radar right now.
Okay, that is clear. So the question right now is, what are students looking for today? How are you evaluating Mercyhurst's curriculum? We're going to talk about all of that when we come back. Stay with us. I'm Lisa Adams. Welcome back once again to The Insider. My guest is Dr. Kathleen Getz, 13th president of Mercyhurst University. We're downplaying the fact that she's the first woman in 50 years now. But we are talking about your vision for the school, and this is a broad question, but really what are students looking for today, and has our COVID-ravaged economy impacted their thinking about fields of study?
The economy, the COVID economy, has affected their thinking more about where they go to school than about what they study. Students are staying closer to home, and so we have a higher population from the Erie County area this year than we've had recently, which is typical of most universities. I don't think the COVID pandemic has affected what students are studying, but yes, we're seeing some changes in what students study over the years. They're navigating much more to STEM, and what we do with STEM is excellent, and we make sure that our STEM programs are grounded in the liberal arts, and I think that's really, really important in terms of helping the students not only to learn the state of the art in technology now, but be prepared to be lifelong learners, because the technology they learn today will not be the technology they're using 5 years from now.
Yeah, that is what you're saying is near and dear to my heart as far as liberal arts education and that core of learning to be a lifelong learner or speak well or write well, because the economy is changing so rapidly. If you say, I want to be a this, 5 years from now, a this might not really exist.
Exactly.
So what programs would you say are solid on the Hill when it comes to growth, enrollment, and career opportunities, and which ones are struggling?
Our strongest programs are right now in the Ridge College of Intelligence. Our Intelligence Studies program is truly outstanding. Our cybersecurity and computer science, these programs are excellent. Forensics, our forensics program, you hear all the time about Dr. Dirk, I just lost his name, terrible. You hear all the time about Dennis and
Dirk Matt.
Thank you, I'm so sorry, Dennis. Who's out there doing all kinds of things in forensics. And I know people from Baltimore who came to Mercyhurst to study intelligence and forensics. So we're doing really well in that. Within each of our 4 colleges, we have strong programs. Our education program is terrific. Our nursing and allied health programs are really good, and we're putting more effort into those as well. So we've got a lot to work with.
A couple of years ago, plans were announced for some shared studies and shared programs with other schools. Is that still happening?
You know, I don't know the details of that, so I'm going to refrain from answering.
Okay. So what's the process of evaluating whether you might need to eliminate some majors? Is a review like that already underway? And what's your management style when it comes to collaborating on crafting the future, you know, or making those decisions, I guess?
Yeah, so I do try to collaborate with the faculty, particularly in terms of the academic programs. I have to bring a lens that's different from theirs to what we look at, and I do have to look at it from that sort of business perspective, but also driven by the mission. But what we're doing, and we haven't started yet, but the plan is to look at every program, to look at the enrollments, whether the revenues that we get from the enrollments cover the cost of the program. And when we find that that's not the case, that the program is operating in the red, we don't just say the program's done. We look more deeply. So we first do the financial analysis, and then we look more deeply at the program to determine whether it's mission appropriate to keep it, what else it's doing for us besides money, is it giving us reputation, those kinds of things. And then we make a decision collaboratively about how to move forward. Maybe it's a twist rather than an elimination.
So when you talked about what was doing well for you, I noticed that you didn't mention the arts or music or dance. So those have been signature programs over the years. Are those a little bit of a harder sell right now?
They are not. They are. The problem was there are so many good things that I just didn't list them off. No, the performing arts are fantastic. The physical arts, they're just doing wonderfully. And I had an opportunity at the inauguration a couple weeks ago to see some performances by our students, and I was just delighted.
Well, there's plenty more to talk about when we come back. We're going to talk about all the other things that are part of campus life, including athletics, and get Dr. Getz's thoughts on those. Stay with us. You're watching The Insider. Welcome back. We've been talking with Dr. Kathleen Getz, president of Mercyhurst University. So aside from academics, what are the other strengths at Mercyhurst right now? I know one thing you intend to work on or continue to work on is diversity, equity, and inclusion.
Mm-hmm. Yes, and that really is a calling for me to really try to work on that. The people at Mercyhurst, our faculty, staff, and students, have inclusion in their hearts. One of our values is compassionate hospitality, and we really do welcome everybody to campus, and we're happy to have people come to campus, and we want everybody to feel included. But we're not doing it as well as we ought to. The results aren't there. We're not a highly diverse community, especially in terms of ethnic and racial diversity. We just continue to struggle with that, and we can't. We have to get beyond this. So I've formed a President's Advisory Council for Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion, which is populated by a cross-section of people on campus, including students. And it really is important that we do more than talk and start having actions and real discernible results.
So let's talk about athletics now. I understand that you have been seen at plenty of sporting events. So is that an important strength of Mercyhurst, and will those programs survive?
So the athletics programs are certainly important to most universities. They are. They're a call to students for school spirit and that kind of thing. So we're definitely all in on the athletics. We've got 25, I think, sports. Most of them are Division II. Men's and women's ice hockey are Division I. Ice hockey happens to be my favorite sport, so that was really a draw for me coming here. And our athletes are wonderful, and important to say, they are scholars first. They are scholar athletes, and we continue to be at the top of our division in terms of our students' performance in the classroom, as well as on the athletic competitive field. Well,
time is going quickly here, but just briefly, how is Mercyhurst handling COVID-19 right now? I know there's a surge in our community. Are you satisfied with the protocols in place, and how are you going to handle Thanksgiving and Christmas breaks, for example?
The protocols in place are great. The people who started being the leads on the COVID-19 response last year before I was here are doing a fantastic job. We do have a masking mandate inside on campus. I was reluctant to do that, but when Erie became a high transmission area, there was just no choice in that. Thanksgiving students are going home for a break. Christmas, they're going home. We're bringing them back between.
So as you recruit for the next year, how is that process different because of COVID? Are families still making on-campus visits, and is that been harmed at all by this pandemic? It
was harmed last year because families didn't make campus visits, but we're back to having visits, and we've had several visits. This past weekend we had a big open house. There's a lot of excitement in the families, and I think we're going to have a good year for recruitment.
So if you succeed in your mission at Mercyhurst, what do you hope that people will notice first, whether that's the students on the campus or the people in the larger Erie community?
There are a couple of things that I really hope are sort of takeaways and obvious. Again, the diversity, equity, inclusion, and justice initiatives, and I hope people start seeing that we're very welcoming and that we become more diverse. I really want to increase our engagement with the Erie community. We're very engaged in a lot of different ways, but not as systematically as we could be. Near and dear to my heart is building up a community by helping with job creation, my business background, and it's something that I really was involved with a lot in Baltimore and bringing here, and I'm starting to work with community leaders to think about how Mercyhurst can be part of that.
It's an interesting time because there are jobs and there aren't people who want to work right now, but certainly we think in the bigger picture of things, job creation will certainly be important. Well, it's been great to have you here and to get to know you. I hope you've enjoyed the conversation. Thank you for joining us as well. As always, if you have an idea you'd like us to explore on The Insider, just email me at ladams@erienewsnow.com and join us again next time for The Insider. Thank you.